Hello and welcome to MotorInc First. Shumi has went and ridden a motorcycle, and I think he didn't know which motorcycle he was going to ride.
I didn't.
That's right.
But there is a reason why the iPad is out already.
Okay.
Let me take my glasses out. And please excuse Karthikeya, he's recovering from a particularly poor case of the viral fever and he's slightly wheezy and I'm not supposed to make him laugh. But I don't think I can help it. So, I went and rode the Hero Glamour X
All right.
in Jaipur, but not at the Center for Innovation and Technology, which is their R&D center outside. Now, glamour, I asked Google, is the quality of something to be more exciting or attractive than ordinary things or people.
Okay.
Then it got more interesting. Dictionary.com says the quality of fascinating, alluring, or attracting, especially by a combination of charm and good looks, excitement, adventure, and unusual activity, the glamour of being an explorer, for example. Then it got even better. And I'm listening to this is Tatler Asia, which says in terms of being a glamorous person, he or she would be someone who lives a very exciting life, dresses elegantly, and has grace and poise in every occasion. Most importantly, a glamorous person is someone who has a kind heart.
Oh, that's so
I
sweet.
think that's a stretch. But then it got even better because San Diego Troubadour has what is the difference between glamour and beauty? Beauty is self-evident, in brackets, in the eye of each beholder, comma, of course. Ultimately, it is what it is. So you are beautiful. Glamour is when you take something that is or may not be already beautiful and dress it up in finery to imply that it is now something even more exquisite.
Okay.
Oh, that hit the nail on the head.
All right. So story was that last line. I'm guessing.
No, so this is a really old product if you think about it. It came out in 2005, 6, 7, something like that. And Hero has sold 8 million of these so far. So while it is not considered a massive success by Hero's own standards,
You're talking about the glamour nameplate.
the Glamour nameplate, it's a pretty popular product,
Correct.
right? The Glamour's always been a 125. The Glamour had this youthful phase when it was called the chick magnet. You can look it up.
By whom?
Apparently, there was a time when it was politically okay to call a motorcycle a chick magnet.
But who called it that?
I think it was the ad campaign. And its cousin was the Super Splendor, which one of my cousins had. So I know that they're reasonably good motorcycles and all of that, right? Now,
Super Splendor was the 125cc Splendor.
was the base grade 125 and the Glamour was the glamorous one.
Correct.
You know, take what it is and then make it more elegant. And
Before we actually started recording this, Shumi and I was just trying to refresh my mind as to where did the glamour fit in the hero family, and I was like, it's meant to be the fancy splendor. They said, no, that's not how it is.
that's the passion.
That's the yeah, that was the passion. And then I remembered that the glamour was always the 125 version, and that was the super splendor. Then
Correct.
that became
And the Glamour also, I think, introduced fuel injection.
correct. PGMFI came with the glamour. Yes.
Yeah, so it was the Glamour Fi, Glamour Fi, and so on and so forth. Right now, this time, effectively, Hero has updated the original Glamour chassis, as in whatever was until on sale until recently. They've taken the engine from the Extreme 125R, which is a very successful product for them by their own admission, and then put this engine into the Glamour to create a updated Glamour.
Okay.
This is being billed, and I'm not making this up, as India's most futuristic 125. Now,
Right.
there are two sides to this story. One of this is, of course, genuinely funny because,
I mean, that's not the word I was expecting.
but the other side of the story is very telling about who we are as a country and where we are headed next. And that is a very, very interesting and serious discussion which we'll come to at the end because it's not relevant directly to the product itself. It's about what that product represents. So mechanically, what Hero said is the chassis is not very different from whatever the Glamour was until recently because there was nothing fundamentally wrong with the Glamour's chassis. It was a reasonably comfortable bike, still is. It used to handle reasonably well, still is. And in the commuter class, reasonably well is a good balance to hit.
It's good enough,
because you can't make it too sharp, then people don't like it. You can't make it too soft, then people don't like it. It's somewhere in the middle. You will consistently hear that this bike felt a little stiff in certain conditions. This is true. But the tire pressures on all the bikes were quite substantially off also, which I had corrected on my bike. And the few people who did ride my bike with the correct tire pressures said, yes, the softness seemed to be better than the stiffer feel of the other motorcycle.
Okay.
So on a good flat road, as one Hero engineer told us, but on a good flat road, it feels good, no? And then everybody looked at him and saying, yeah, but all motorcycles feel reasonably good on good flat roads. What are you saying here? It's when the bumps start that the stiffness happens. So this is not an uncomfortable motorcycle in any way, except maybe for the seat.
Okay.
As usual, commuter seats seem to have these enormously soft foams, which are very good in the showroom, which are excellent on the first rides, and after that they just don't work. This is one more example of a very soft seat like this. On the ergonomics front, Hero has put an even wider handlebar than last time. If you remember, the Mavrick had 30 mm wider than normal. This bike also has 30 mm wider than normal handlebars, so it's a little bit more open-chested kind of riding position. And this also talks about that funny part and the what does it say about our country part. It also connects to that,
Okay.
which also will come to. Don't get confused yet.
Sorry, I am confused. Why did you reference the Maverick for the handlebar thing?
Because on the Maverick also they tried to create a more substantial riding position.
No other reason than that.
And therefore they created a wide handlebar. It's the first time I hit a handlebar on a tree as I was passing by through traffic, and I realized that I had to recalibrate my expectation of how wide the Maverick
There's
was.
no actual connection between the two in any form and fashion.
No. A wider handlebar automatically improves your leverage, so it seems like the motorcycles become a little more responsive, but the primary reason is you sit a little bit more wider, right? The instruments are now a segmented LCD unit, and it's got Bluetooth and features and features and features, and there's a lot of features in this story, so I'm not going to go into detail just yet. Now, the engine from the Extreme 125R is a nice and smooth engine. It always was, still is, and now they've added a ride-by-wire throttle to it. So this 125cc motorcycle, which makes 11.5 bhp, has riding modes
Allah.
and cruise control.
What the?
Doesn't have wheelie control, doesn't have traction control. Honestly, doesn't need either of those two things.
Button operated side stand?
Not yet. But an operated and illuminated side stand are still
Tell
not
them,
available.
man.
That's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is called the Hero Glamour X. I think that will come on the Hero Glamour XX. Right? Please tell me what you think should be on the Glamour Triple X then. Now, what Hero is basically saying is the cutest thing ever because it's both true, it's a little bit sad, and it is 100% what we have to get through before we take the next step. Which is that Hero suddenly discovered that there was a real drop in the sales of the HF Deluxe, which is their absolute baseline model, and people just weren't willing to buy it anymore. And they couldn't initially understand what was going on.
Okay.
Then they created a motorcycle called the HF Deluxe Pro, which has a few extra things, and the sales started to pick up again. And it turns out that even in the commuter class, status is a thing, and selling a basic motorcycle is not good enough anymore.
Right.
So what the Glamour X is doing is it's taking a motorcycle which is closer to the Extreme 125R in terms of premium appeal, but not sporty, not modern. It's a basic commuter, but it is loaded with what that customer might think are features.
Is it? Would the Shine 125 SP be a parallel to this?
SP is very close parallel to it, but SP doesn't have these many features in it.
Understood. But the idea is the same.
Idea
Because even
is
when
very
the
similar.
SP came, I was like a little like
Yeah,
a Shine that's become cool.
Correct. So the idea is that this customer says, I don't want a 150 or can't afford a 150. I don't want anything larger for sure. I value this 60 odd kilometers per liter that I'm getting. I want all of these things, but I want a cooler machine.
Right.
And to have a cooler machine, Hero's given you a slightly tall screen on top of the bikini fairing. So it looks a little bit more substantial. The design reminds you of the old Glamour, but it's cleaned up and it's one of the cleaner, better finished motorcycles that we've seen from Hero. Caveat, these were all pre-production motorcycles. Production is not started. So it is easier to control finish levels on pre-production machines because you're building them effectively by hand, as it were. In production, we'll see. I'm not expecting a disaster there. But it's got traction, did I say traction control? It's got cruise control. It's got what Hero calls ERA Tech, Advanced Electronic Rider Assistance.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean anything because it is basically, it can detect that you're braking really hard and flash the indicators.
Sorry, say again?
It can detect that you're braking really hard and flash the indicators.
It does that?
It does that. Then it's got the modes, and there's 3 riding modes, not just 2. So it's eco, road, and sport. 11.5 bhp machine, don't forget. Then LED headlights, LED tail lights. On the top model, everything is LED. On the bottom, the indicators are still bulb units, and that also has a drum brake. So if you think about what they've done, they've taken a reasonably smooth commuter. It is still a reasonably smooth commuter.
I want to know how much of a difference is there in acceleration in the different ride modes.
I'll come to the riding modes because they're not completely useless,
Oh.
and they are also completely useless, both. Okay, so the overarching impression I have is I rode this motorcycle about 54, 55 kilometers in total. I didn't feel like I needed to ride it any longer than this. I left from this hotel near the Kukus area, went up to Nahargarh and came back. In the corners, it's pleasant. On the bad roads, it manages itself pretty reasonably well, especially at lower speeds. And a lot of these people are not going to be traveling at super high speeds in the first place, so that's okay. The seat did annoy me a little bit, but I know that if they were to make the actual technically good seat, the showroom guys would not be able to sell this motorcycle and convince them that this is actually good for you. So I know what they've done. This is a decent motorcycle. There is not much to discuss. The Xtreme 125 is a good commuter, not very exciting to ride. I wish that that was the picture of the Xtreme 125. This is the same kind of motorcycle, but in this class, not being super exciting to ride, I think works.
So you said the Xtreme 125 is not super.
No, it's super linear, that engine. So it's smooth, it's easy, it handles, but it doesn't feel like there's any activity actually happening, although you can see that you're making progress and you're overtaking things and all of that. So I think it could be a little bit more fun, but it's not. And in that class, I think that's a delta that could be extracted further.
Especially when you juxtapose it with the Glamour X now being in place.
Yeah, so when you see the Glamour X not being exciting and linear and all of that, you're like, yeah, this makes sense.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But then the Extreme should be.
But the Extreme could be turned up a little bit, which Hero will not do, because why fix what has not, clearly is not broken and people love it, right? So the fun part about this motorcycle is, for example, that the cruise control does work. You can set a speed and then it goes that speed.
Works smoothly, doesn't move up and down.
Yeah, but that's the thing, it's a really crude system. So first, this is not a fast motorcycle. So if you're going, say, 40 kilometers an hour and you decide to set cruise to 64, it could take a long time to get to 64. Yes, because Hero says if I were to open the taps and give it acceleration, we'd lose economy A, but you'd lose the smoothness in the experience. Right? So it takes a while to get to that speed. And then when it gets to that speed, it might overshoot it a little bit and then come back to it. Because it's not a sophisticated system, it doesn't have quick reactions. So on the Kuka stretch, you've driven that stretch. It's not, doesn't have major elevation changes. That's in the Nahargarh area, right? Even there, gentle slopes, it has trouble holding on to its speed. It's in the neighborhood, but it's not precise. But it sort of works. In economy mode, getting to the selected speed could take a while. In power mode or whatever, it takes less time. But does it hold on to that speed very firmly as you would on a sophisticated machine? No, it's a functioning cruise control system, which for the segment is good enough. Because I believe this is like the Bluetooth system on all motorcycles today. Can you sell a motorcycle without Bluetooth today? No, you can't. Is there anybody out there who's actively using Bluetooth every day on their motorcycles? No, there's nobody out there doing that either.
But via the motorcycle for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but as somebody said, the customer will say, oh, do I use the Bluetooth? No, I don't use the Bluetooth. Correct. And then you say, so can we remove the Bluetooth and give you a lower price point? How the hell will you give me a motorcycle without Bluetooth? No, I don't want any of that. Right? So this has a USB-C port. Will you use it? I don't think so. But can you sell the motorcycle without it anymore? No, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Right? So this motorcycle is jammed full of features like this.
Tell me one thing. Didn't TVS do one like this, which was just packed with all kinds of features?
TVS is currently on a binge where all of their machines are packed with features that the motorcycle doesn't basically need.
What was this last
But
one?
they're trying to recast also themselves as a higher tech manufacturer. I mean, think about the RTR 310's cooling fans.
Cooling fan seat, you mean? That.
And the cooling fans were under your jewels. Most uncomfortable.
That had fans.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the fans couldn't have.
I thought it was a Peltier effect thing.
So the Peltier effect is the element. Under that, there is a fan to extract the heat. No, otherwise, how will it cool?
Okay.
And those fans could not be between foam because it had to be on the filament, and the filament has to be right at the top. So when you sat down, you sat on two plastic fans. Your butt was okay, but the front of that part of your anatomy was not happy with this. It was the most uncomfortable seat I've ever tested.
So the TVS did that GTT, right? Glide
Yeah.
something, and they had a couple of these things
Yeah.
that they came up with, which
Yeah, so see, if you have a large population of motorcyclists who are not fully plugged into motorcycling, then you can brand all of these things and make them appear to be value elements. Are they really value elements? Not really. Any motorcycle that has a reasonable amount of torque at the bottom doesn't die when you let the clutch out all the way and it will
yeah,
crawl forward in first.
yeah,
TVS added the ability to say if it's climbing up a slope and starting to stall, add a little bit more fuel and branded that as GTT.
yeah.
Useful? Sure. A brand new feature that will change your life? No. KTM's crawl feature, for example, does exactly the same thing, and I initially absolutely hated it because it lets you come to a stop at a traffic light in fourth gear. And you don't realize you've come to a stop in fourth gear because it felt completely normal, natural, and unprotesting. And then the light changes and you stall.
Yeah, you forget.
And it's taken me, I think, 1500 odd kilometers to remember to check whether I have downshifted down to first or not.
Okay.
Right? Especially at the when you're coming in and then the light changes to green. I guarantee that I have never not stalled that motorcycle for the first 1,000 kilometers in that situation because I was always in 2-3 gears too high.
Okay.
So
Wait. Sorry. Which above this? Which is the next motorcycle with cruise control?
I think the KTM's.
Oh, it's straight up there then.
No, the closest will be the TVS RTR 310, 2.3, 2.4 lakh rupees
Okay.
something.
Okay. So it's still a significant.
Yeah, so that's why they can say segment first, market first, and all of this, which happens a lot in this conversation. So it's got cruise control. The riding modes are very interesting because they do vary throttle response more than anything else. There is a variation, therefore, in the fuel economy that you can get also, and the band, if I remember correctly, is between 6 and 9, I think 6 kilometers per liter, where the bottom mode, eco, gives you about 6 kilometers per liter in the real world, more than the top mode will give you. But the primary difference is throttle response, and there is a substantial difference in throttle response. So it's not like if I close your eyes and put in a mode, you will not be able to identify which one it is. That much difference is there. In power mode, it feels a little bit more energetic, and in eco mode, it feels a little bit sleepy. And that is also how the cruise control will feel. For example, if you set the speed up and you're in power mode, it gains that speed pretty rapidly, versus eco mode where it gains glacially. The problem is, because of the emissions and all of that and how lean this thing is running, on-off throttle transitions are extremely jerky, most obvious in power mode where the torque variation is higher, less obvious in eco mode. So on Nahargarh, where there are blind and long corners, so you're basically in a place where you're leaned over and you're trying to see if I can open the throttle or not, and you're not sure because you can't see the road. I know the curve, but I don't know if there's traffic there, right? In that situation, you're basically rolling on and rolling off slightly, and that whole bike jerks.
It has a shunt kind of thing.
Yeah. So it sort of picks up and then you roll off and then it sort of, so there is a lot of movement there, which I don't know if they can iron out a lot because we've seen a lot of the BS62 bikes do this. On this bike, in that situation, it felt particularly bad. But in eco mode, it's not so bad. In road mode, it's not so bad. But here's the kicker. Will you actually use the riding modes is actually a question. Because when you switch off this bike and switch it back on, it goes back to being in road mode, which is not a bad mode to be in. But if you prefer eco mode, for example, you will have to manually select eco mode every single time.
And how easy is it to
And it's
switch?
just a button. I mean, it's not a.
There's a separate.
There's a separate mode button.
Okay.
So it's not a crisis. But what Hero said is very interesting. Hero says, no, we can't give you the memory for the mode because it's a legal requirement for it to return to the same mode. So how does KTM do it? My bike remembers what mode I left it in.
Because what I remember is that the fuel efficiency tests are done on the default mode. So whatever
That's
the
fine.
default mode is.
That's fine. But the default mode is not eco. It's road.
In the Glamour. Which might be okay, which is fine. But KTM, you're saying it doesn't default back to this thing.
No, it stays where you left it. So I don't know what the legal thing on this is, but this bike will default to the middle mode every single time you switch it off. So if you prefer power mode, you're going to have to make a mode change every single time. If you prefer eco mode, you're also going to have to make a mode change every single time you start the bike. So I'm not convinced that people will actually use these riding modes on a regular basis outside of a very small percentage of people.
Who do you think is supposed to be buying this?
I'll come to that. Because that is a very juicy part of this thing. I just want to get over with the bike because the rest of it is really juicy.
Okay, chal, go.
Right? And therefore, that is the riding mode, etc. Then the panic brake blinkers, I said, how are you sensing it? This is not an ABS bike. There is no speed sensor. How the hell are you doing it? So they said that
IMU. Sorry.
IJU, Indian Jugaad Unit. No, so they are saying that between the brake pressure sensor and how fast the RPMs drop when you're panic braking, they can calculate the fact that you're in that kind of a situation, deduce deceleration as it were, and then when it goes past the threshold, turn on all the indicators, which by law are required to blink faster than a normal indication. So they've worked all of this out. So in that sense, what you have to understand is good commuter, sure. Comfortable, yeah, close enough. And back to the gills with features which are more to do with attracting you to buy one than to make your life any simpler. Are many of these features poorly executed? No. They have put in the work into it. But will they fundamentally change your commuting experience? No. In that sense, the glamour and beauty definition is exactly right. They've taken a motorcycle which is reasonably good and using what it is, they've turned it up to feel more alluring and attractive to bring customers.
Glamour X.
Glamour X. Okay, now the fun part about this is we've known for a while that Indian commuter motorcyclists, purchasers, don't like change. You remember when the disc brakes came to the market, how much of chaos that created because the commuter said, we don't need disc brakes, and they effectively refused to buy them. And we were told this time that the uptake of disc brakes on commuters is just recently picked up pace, where people are saying, no, we don't want drum brakes, we want disc brakes, right? And what they're saying is, it's very, very cool, but now they want status to come from this vehicle too. And all of these little elements like LED headlights and the automatic panic braking and stuff that you would tell your friends your bike has, which yours doesn't, etc., is part of the convincing somebody to part with their money process.
Okay.
At the same time, they're still cost conscious and value conscious and economy conscious and all of that. So the core values of a commuter can't really change.
Yeah.
So that 60 something kilometers per liter is acceptable and must be delivered.
Correct.
The smoothness is required.
So the hygiene elements stay where they are, but
Yes.
they just want a little
They
bit more
want cool
flavor.
factor. And Hero's way of solving the cool factor is to say, oh, I will give you turn-by-turn navigation and we'll give you panic braking and we'll give, because I mean, they have the same Bluetooth system. They're just deploying the system in one new place. And if you look at the meter, you've seen that meter before. It's not like they've invented a meter for this bike. Right? Cruise control is there and all of this, and you'll demonstrate this to your family and all, then probably never use it, but by that time it has done its job.
Right.
So the interesting thing about it is that being caught in that middle space, right? Where the macroeconomic picture is, oh, is the economy really growing and is our GDP growth worth talking about and isn't our inflation too high and whatever is going on, right? And at the bottom, everybody is saying they're willing to spend more money. Where is this extra disposable income coming from? Even if you argue that it's not coming from actual income, it's been diverted from elsewhere, let's call it savings, it is being spent. But at the same time, this customer says, I will want movement, but not too much movement.
Right. He just wants, I guess, get the sense that I bought something modern and new. That's about it.
And it must appear to be modern and new to everybody I show it to. Underneath, it must do the exact same thing that it used to do before.
Correct.
But what I found really interesting is the fact that we're literally in the middle of that transition right now, where we want change, but we are afraid of change also. So we want change to be in non-critical areas. Because if the cruise control were to fail on a Glamour X, for example, it doesn't fundamentally affect me in any particular way at all.
Right.
Right? Let's take an external force. I went to the shops, I walked away from my bike, and some kid came and took a stone and broke the cruise control switch. I'm not convinced that this customer is going to spend money to replace the switch.
Correct.
But if the switch wasn't there, there was no cruise control, then there's one less thing on this bike that I'm paying for. It's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I get it because it's been happening for so long
Yeah.
in this part of the world, right?
Yeah.
The slow creep of these things, and which is why when the TVS thing happened, I was like, no man, no, don't let it start here.
Yeah.
But it's gonna happen, I
Yeah,
guess.
and we are pretty clear that in the 400cc class, and Hero knows this more intimately because of the Mavrick, which is by the by not out of production. The Mavrick had a problem of desire. It just didn't create desire. But if you come to motoring circles today, there are Mavrick owners in there, and they all say, "What a great bike! What an underrated bike! Oh my God, so many things it does so well." But do you feel like, wow, that is so cool, I need to have one? No, that's where it fails at. But in the 400cc class, which is premium motorcycles, I accept that that is correct. I do want the sense of I have arrived in the 400cc class. I have a reasonably premium motorcycle, and that has value. And therefore, the Mavrick being 1.9 lakh rupees ex showroom is not valuable enough if it is not cool at 1.9 lakh rupees.
And you're saying it's still in production?
They're switching networks. It was sitting in the 2.0 network. It is going to shift to the Premium network.
Okay.
Because of the way the Hero thing is organized, it's not like the 2.0 dealer is going to say, I'm just going to give 50% discount on my inventory and get rid of this machine. So they have to give them a chance to sell off their inventory and then replace the motorcycle. And I think that's what is going to happen, which is the upside down forks and all of that thing that we've seen at EICMA. That motorcycle will show up at 2.0 as Mavrick upgrade. And it's in the transition that suddenly this news has gone out saying the thing is out of production. Yeah, it is out of production, but it's not end of story.
Wow. That's just hard luck for a brand name.
Yeah. And from that 400cc class aspiration set to come down to see it happening at the start at the 125cc class, I think it's very interesting and very challenging for a manufacturer. Because you can't really make big changes because they hate the big changes. But you have to make small changes and get them right because without those, the bike will not sell.
It's like that for the longest time, right? Everybody in the mass market refrained from making anything dramatic looking.
Correct.
It's like people just didn't want it.
It happened just now, the N125. The
N1
Bajaj N125 was dramatic looking, was very sharp, super motardy, some people called it. Then it had the pajamas, the fork sleeves. It was a dramatically different looking motorcycle. Was the engine not smooth enough or efficient enough? It was. Was the suspension not the best suspension tune we've experienced in this class of machines? Absolutely it was. It was just far enough away from normalcy for people to say, I don't know what the thing is. Right? I'm willing to wear pajamas, but when my bike wears pajamas, I'm done. This is it. I'm not buying this.
Okay. What else can we talk about this bike? It's been a while since we did a commuter bike. I mean, we've done
Yeah,
scooters.
and we've missed nothing because nothing shifts in this class, right? They can't.
Yeah, I know. There was the time when, like early days when, I was asked, why don't you do commuter reviews, comparisons and all, and this for television? I was like, who will decide on the basis of what I am saying about a Splendor, HF Deluxe, or the Bajaj CT100 or whatever? Nothing. Anybody who's looking to buy one of these buys on the basis of what belief they have in that brand or that product. And it was just like that's word of mouth or trust factor in the brand. That's it.
And these are such long-standing products, especially the successful ones. Honestly, everything that you need to know about this product is already perhaps known. And in this particular market, word of mouth counts for more than 50, 60% of the story.
And which is why they're so hesitant and resistant to things changing, because they know this did this for the last 20 years that we've had this.
Yeah.
We've had 3 of them and it just worked and we want that.
Yeah. Watch the Honda Activa story that we did on View very, very closely. We didn't blame Honda for the state of the Activa. Honda is doing what the customers are telling them to do. And in this class, customers are saying, don't change it. It is a complete accidental side effect that everybody who had an Activa up to I think 4G or something, or 5G maybe, said actually our scooters really run well. And we can't say the same for our friends who have 5 and 6Gs. There seems to have been a depression in quality, which could be Honda trying to optimize costs and making a boo-boo somewhere. Possible. Maybe the 7G will revert to being what it was.
Yeah.
But Honda cannot change the Activa. Let us get this absolutely clear. We can criticize them to death. But Honda is not stopping the Activa from evolving. We are. We are saying we showed up to buy that product.
Correct.
And Honda says, but here's the deal. It is an evolved product in some ways. Here's the Activa 125, evolved product in some ways. Here Honda tried the Grazia and another evolved product in another. We didn't buy any of those things.
Yeah, correct.
Right? And in that sense, if you think about it, for all their publicly claimed success at Honda, they are stuck. Because the Activa sells. It sells so well that they can't change it. The Shine sells. The Shine sells so well that they can't change it. And nothing else sells. And Hero is the same. I mean, the one bike that they can't really change is the Splendor.
Correct.
They can mess with the Glamour X right now because the Glamour is not a successful product by their own standards. And if the Glamour were to fail, for example, we tried.
It's a predictability.
But now the Extreme 125 is doing decent numbers for them. Can't touch it anymore.
They're not going to spice it up.
You're not going to
Just
spice it
because
up.
the Glamour X has come.
No.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
so as much as the commuter thing was okay and it was meeting expectations and all of that, and this gimmicky, this feature, that feature thing didn't really float my boat, it was just such an amazing thing to see this country's movement, right? Where suddenly, even at the base level, we are saying, no, status has to be taken care of. If status is not taken care of, then
And the difference between the two variants is basically
10K.
disc brakes.
Disc and drum, and some indicator is being bulb and that is being LED, that kind of thing.
That's about it.
That's it. Yeah, and dispatches have started. So by the time you see this, another week or two, they should be available in some parts of the country, and then
Alloy
they'll
wheels on both.
alloy wheels
I'm
on.
sorry, it's been such a
No,
long
no,
time.
no,
I'm just
no.
thinking back to.
Now the zamana of the spoke tubed wheel is gone. In this class, it's all alloy wheels. It's not a crisis at all.
Okay. Okay. Quick summary.
No, I don't think we need a quick summary, but I was really blown away by that idea of everything is becoming status conscious. And slightly saddened by the fact that the status is not earned by doing something interesting. It is earned by having cruise control and
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, with everything that we're seeing, you want it to be obvious, you want it to be easily communicable, and it shouldn't require effort from you,
correct.
right? Then it makes sense.
Yeah, this is the instant gratification version of status acquisition.
Because if you have to put in effort, if it is hard to show off, if it is not obvious what the benefit is, like let's say you could have a vehicle with great fuel efficiency, but to show it off, how are you going
It's
to
very
do
difficult.
that, right? There's no way that you can do it. People are going to then look at the flip side and say, probably it's very dull to drive, right? Like, so it has to be something that's easily
And they might
communicable
not
as
even
well.
credit the vehicle. They might say, you ride so slowly that you must be getting this incredible fuel economy. And that is no longer a status acquisition. It's a downward movement.
So I think this is the way. I mean, whatever we're going to see, we're 100% going to see more of this on bikes if it's happened here. It's budget segment will play feature game.
It's not budget segment anymore. It's status on a budget segment.
80,000-90,000 is not bad though, man.
No, it's a very good price.
That's a very good
Yeah,
price.
it is a very good price.
I'm still surprised to hear 125 with all of this under a lakh.
Yeah.
That's
No, also Hero's a little bit on the back foot also on this. So they have to make sure that this works, right? Because the HF Deluxe thing that I mentioned at the beginning, the sales suddenly starting to fall is a warning sign, right? And if you think about it, Hero's premium motorcycles so far, nothing has really clicked. Hero's scooters so far, the Destiny has finally showing some signs of life, the Destiny 125, right? The Splendor is still the whole and soul bread and butter and jam and peanut butter and everything else of this company, and everything else is satellites. So they do need to put attention into it, and they do need to do something about it. They also talked about the idea of downgraders who buy this kind of bikes, and downgraders being people who would ordinarily have bought a 150 by now, but post COVID, there is a substantial number of people who are saying, no, not needed. A good 125 will do it. And a good 125 has these basic elements plus status elements.
correct. It's like we see with cars also. People don't necessarily want to buy a bigger car now. They want a car that's better equipped, which might be the same size as their current vehicle,
Yeah.
or maybe even smaller than the one that they have today.
Yeah, so the prices are 90 and 1 lakh. So 90 is the drum brake and 1 lakh is the disc.
Still good.
Yeah, still good. Yeah. I also asked if this engine would go back to the Extreme 125 because this has the ride-by-wire and the electronic throttle body, etc. So now you have the more expensive, more popular 125 running effectively a lower tech version of this engine. So there was lots of sideways looking at each other without saying anything. So I'm assuming that logically at some point it must.
And what would be the difference in price between these two?
It's a more premium product.
But this has the more features.
Eh,
I'm just asking. I'm just asking because I don't remember what all it has.
but that is a popular product.
Okay, fine. Got it.
So I mean, in theory, you could price the Glamour at par with the Extreme given the feature loading and all of that, but they don't want to. The Glamour is the economical status option.
Gotcha. Correct. And premium products are price premium.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What's next?
Zoom 160. We have dates.
Oh, you do? When?
Yeah. So I think a week from now, or maybe a week and a bit from now, we'll be riding
nice.
the Zoom 160.
I know your itinerary is packed. I mean, you've lots of stuff.
Yeah. So RTR 310 is incoming. SR 125 from Aprilia incoming.
125.
175.
Yeah.
SR 175. Did I say 125?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. SR 175 is incoming. Then Scram 440 is also still incoming. Xpulse 210 also still incoming. Extreme 250R, no word on incoming or not, but we are waiting for it. We'd like to test it. Zoom 160 first ride is planned. There was one more thing somewhere.
You had some Aether thing also at some point.
Aether has a community day when they normally show new software for sure. They've also said they will show the new platform which is called EL.
Because I saw something on social somewhere that they're talking about this game, then this game, and now this.
So that is on Aether Community Day, which is at the end of August.
Okay.
Then the Ola Roadster is not coming to us
Why?
because we don't test Olas.
Why?
Because the customer service has to become okay before engineering has a role to play.
I thought they use and throw
What?
vehicles.
Not at the prices that they sell them at. No.
They're expensive.
Not
They
expensive, but
don't look it.
not throw. I mean, I'm not rich enough to throw that kind of money away.
Carry on.
I mean, if they were to peg their share prices and their scooter prices as 1-to-1 conversion, sure. Okay, 1:2 conversion, I'd take it.
So yeah, use and throw.
No, so TVS is also showing us what appears to be an updated scooter. I'm guessing NTORQ 150, but at this point, I'm not sure what this scooter is. So, lots of two-wheel action happening, but it's not like you don't have stuff planned either.
Not that much, but yeah, I mean, some little bits coming. It'll be
In
fun.
terms of the number of wheels, it will be the same, no.
तभी भी नहीं. Not right now. Not as of now. Not as of now. As of now, I've only got about 8 wheels added up. I think you've already counted down to 16. So yeah.
It's one of those things. Pre-Diwali, some jam is going to happen. Oh, and I forgot the KTM Duke 160 has been confirmed.
Correct.
And the SMCR is supposedly at the end of August too. But we are at the end of August. There's no news of it. So I'm assuming that's been moved back a little bit to create space.
Nice. All right. Lots of action coming then.
Yeah.
So that was the Hero Glamour X, which is the fancier version of the Glamour. And if you have any more questions about it, this is the first time we've done one of the commuter bikes, as it were. We've done scooters, different varieties of them, electric, ice, everything. This was like a refresher of sorts for me. If you have any more questions, and if you do think there are any other commuters that you were interested in, let us know in the comments. We'll definitely look into that. And as usual, we look forward to seeing your comments, talking with you, ideally on the app, where the communication can be longer, smoother, and quicker as well. But of course, we'll get back to you on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever it is. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on the MotorInc app as well.